Hey guys, what's up? It's Trix. Today I'm going to be doing another Rust video where I'm covering some more exercises in Rust. So if I switch over to here, I'm going to be doing magazine cutout, short Fibonacci sequence, and RPN calculator. So if I start, it says the Rust entry API provides a view into a single entry in a map, which may be either a hash map or a BG map. Okay, you know what? Let me just read the instructions. You'll be using a hash map along with entry API methods to solve a simple algorithm problem. Given and str. So I'm just saying this is just a data for a list with strings inside of that list, representing the word of a magazine article. Yeah, so the whole article is inside that, and str representing the word of a note you would like to send. Can you compose your note by cutting words out of the magazine and pasting them into the letter? This implies physical cutting and pasting. The magazine needs to contain at least as many copies of each word as a note requires. Capitalization matters. Just because you're pasting together a note composed from words of a magazine doesn't mean you're willing to be ungrammatical. You'll start with the following stud function. Yep, so it's unimplemented. Given the following input. So magazine is split white spaces, collect vector string, and then note collect vector string. Function returns false since the magazine only contains one instance of two. When the note requires two of them, the following input will succeed. Amy manager chatting with Leonardo DiCaprio. The function returns true since the magazine contains all the words that the note requires. So I'm assuming it collects them and then just checks if the word matches any of the... Okay, so basically it iterates over the note and checks if the word in the magazine matches the word in the note. If it does, and the actual note, if the count you have or whatever that you're storing matches the same length of the note, then you'll return true, else you'll return false. I'm assuming. So if I just want to see how other people have done this, because my solutions. Yes, this is skipped one today because I have no idea what I'm doing either. New forward in note. Yeah. Word entry word or insert 0 plus equals 1. I have no idea what that means. This one, let mut avail equals hash map. Okay, for word in the magazine, avail entry word or insert plus equals 1. For word in note, avail entry word or insert equals minus equals 1. Avail dot values all plus x. Okay, I have no idea what any of this means, so I don't want to complete it. Okay, let's go with Fibonacci sequence. Rust provides a macro vec exclamation mark to help you create vectors. This comes in quite handy when you need to initialize lists. You are going to initialize empty buffers and a list and list the first 5 numbers or elements of the Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci sequence is subnumbers where this next element is the sum of the prior two. We start the sequence at 1, so the first element are 1 and 1. Create a function that creates a buffer of count zeros. I'm create empty. Okay, I'm assuming that this will just create buffer. How? Because of, okay. Again, solutions. Because I'm stupid. Create underscore buffer 0. Okay, create buffer 0. Right. So that's all that does. Then it says create a buffer. Okay. Create empty, create buffer underscore 0. Okay, so George, okay. So I know I need to do that. So it's going to return a vec. Right? It's going to return that, right? So what does it do here? Turn vec 0, count. So I'm assuming what this does, 0, count, is just what value do you want this buffer to contain, and then how many times do you want to do it. If I look up Rust vec continuous growable array type written as short vec. Okay, so if I look at this, where is it? Intervals play 2. So 0, 2, 4, 6. So 1 will just be 2. Because I'm only passing 0 and then count, I'm just saying I want 0 to be there and I want it to do it multiple times, as many as count is. So if I run the test, expected struct vec. Oh, whoops. Run test. Yeah. Create buffer, vec 0. Ah! It's a struct vec found that. Is it because of the semicolons? Rust is weird. Sometimes it needs semicolons and sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, it was a semicolons. I don't know why sometimes Rust is like, oh yeah, have a semicolon. Sometimes don't have a semicolon. If you don't know, that's because I hit Control K. If you do Control L, it'll highlight the search bar for you to edit it. And then Control K just takes you to your search engine and says, oh, you can type whatever you want to find it. What's the next instructions? List the 5 elements of the Fibonacci sequence. Create a function that returns the first 5 elements of the Fibonacci sequence. First 5 elements are 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, so I'm just assuming that if I look at this, because I'm stupid. What does this do? Okay, let me copy paste this and then try to understand it. Okay, so it does let mut. So that's just saying it lets you make a new variable that you want to define. Mut means that you're trying to make the variable mutable, not immutable, mutable, so that you can change the variable later. Because in Rust, it does, the way that you have variables is different. If you just have let and then variable name equals whatever, you can't change the variable later. But if you say it's mutable, so if you just say let variable name equals whatever, it makes the variable immutable, so you can't change it later. If you say let mut whatever variable name equals whatever, it makes the variable mutable so that you can change that and update the variable later on. So because we're saying create buffer 5, all it does is it says 5, it passed 5 here, has the buffer instantiate with zeros in every single index, right? Now all this is doing is saying in the first buffer make it 1, second index in the buffer, make it 1. Now, for each integer in 2 to 5, this is just a spread operator you see in JavaScript too. You want the buffer's current index to be equal to the last index plus the last index, which is this one, and the index before that. So it would be like, say for example, this was 2. You want index 1 and index 0. Index 0 plus index 1, right? So this would make 1 plus 1. So in index 2, it would have 2. Next iteration, it would have I is 3. It would put a 3 here. 3 is equal to 3 minus 2, which is 1. And then 3 minus 1, which is 2. So index 1, item at index 1 plus item at index 2. That's 1 and 2, which makes this 3. Does that make sense? And then all it does is keeps iterating over this spread until 5. Has 5. It stops at 5 actually, because it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it does 2 till 4. And then all it does is just return buffer. So if I run this test, looking at it and trying to explain it makes a lot more sense in my head, because some of this stuff I've seen before. So this vector stuff I've never seen before, but I can just assume what it does. Spread I saw in JavaScript. This is just a normal for loop, and then just is just a return. I'm just assuming that the way that Rust works is that instead of you requiring a return statement, if you just have the element that you want to return as the last line, you'll just return it, I think. Or at least that's how I understand it. Show me more. That one I have no clue. That one I have no clue. No clue. RPM calculator. Okay, instructions. Reverse Polish notation is a way of writing mathematical expressions. Unlike in traditional infix notation, RPN operators follow their operands. For example, instead of writing 2 plus 2, you'd have 2, 2, 1. I mean 2, 2 plus, sorry. And then here, it'll be 4, 8 plus, 7, 5 minus, and then divide. So all this would be is, first numbers you want, then operator for this. So it's like, you chuck this in the middle, then this you chuck in the middle, then because you have this and this, you chuck this in the middle of both of them. Evaluate, so all you're doing is, in both cases, the expression evaluates through overview. I'm assuming that it just wants me to implement the evaluate method. And it passes me an input, which is just calculate input. Okay. Inputs. Oh, so I'm assuming that it's multiple of these. So it could be add and value, subtract and value, I'm guessing. Solutions. Yes, I know this isn't like the bog standard way you're supposed to do it, but for me, I don't know why, but it kind of helps. Okay, let me just copy this. Okay, and then we paste that. Okay, let mut stack equal new. So that's just making a new vector object and storing it in stack and saying that you want it to be mutable so you can edit it later. Macro rules. I don't know what macro rules are. Macro rules Rust. Rust provides a full and powerful macro. Macro rules say hello. Is this just like an anonymous function, but inside of a function? I'm assuming it's just like an anonymous function or like a go-to label. So whenever you want to run macro rules, you just run whenever you want to run this block of code, you just call it apply op. So all this is saying is take first value and second value, and then do something with it, which will create a expression, right? So you're saying, okay, so you're passing, okay, this is basically saying pass 2 items to apply op, which is evaluated to something as an expression, right? So inside here is saying A is the first item, so to pop it from the stack, then B is the second item, pop it from the stack, and then push the expression onto the stack. So for the input that is passed in inputs, so because as I said before, there'll be multiple inputs inside this input array, you call match on the actual input for each input inside, and then all it does is calculate input, the value, the variable, the data type, sorry. Then these two are to specify a specific thing inside of that data type. All we're saying for this first line is call the value field inside calculate input, pass it a value, which is then evaluated to a stack.push of the pointer value, I'm assuming. Then that's similar for these ones, but the only difference is here you're just passing value, right? Because you just want to get the value. You just want to return the value, I'm assuming. With these ones, you actually want to do a calculation, so you pass in the 2 elements you want, and then you pass in the expression that you want to perform, instead of writing out separate expressions for each one. And this is just using an anonymous function, I'm assuming. So instead of needing a return, you just call equals, and then that, it probably looked reverse in there, but equals and then that to specify that, oh, you want whatever this is to evaluate to whatever else, and then return the result of whatever is on this side. And all this is doing is retrieving the stack from this stack, getting the length, and if the length is equal to 1, so the length is just one item, then I have no idea what that does. I have no idea what this says. I know this is a stream, but I have no idea what it's used for. Tests. I want to see what this does. Am I not able to read the test? That's annoying. I swear, if I somehow finish this by accident, I'm gonna be pissed, because I'm over here, like, I have no idea what I'm really doing. Like, most of the time I'm just cheating. And I feel like I'm not really learning if I'm cheating like this. Okay, what's this? Reverse a string. For example, input call, output Luke. Test your function on the string and see what happens. Try to write a function that properly reverses the string. Here, grapheme clusters. To get the bonus test to run, remove the ignore flag from the last test and execute the test with a cargo test. You'll need to use external libraries that create a mess and go for bonus tasks. A good place for look for these is crates.io, the official repository for instruction on how to use external crates in your project. Okay, I just want to see what the solution is. I don't know why. I thought like if I look at the solution and then try to reverse engineer it, like trying to go backwards from what is written, it will make more sense to me. Right. That's 4 years ago. What? Why? That's a new library that's not imported, so I don't want to import that. This just changes it to data. Calls rev collect. Okay, what does that do? Okay, so if I have input dot, what does this guy do? So he converts the characters. That's what the chars does. Then he does rev, which I'm assuming is reverse, and then collect, which I'm just assuming collects it all together. So first he gets input, converts it to chars, then these are just streams. So he's using a stream to convert it to char, to characters, then he's using another stream to reverse the character list that has just been created from input, and then he's collecting that list to form a string again, I'm assuming. Yeah, I'm assuming that's what's happened. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going through. There isn't that many for Rust, so I'm just assuming if I do some more, I might understand these three better. Hash map, I haven't been. I understand how to do hash maps from Java, but looking at the solutions for this hash map doesn't make sense. Because it's just a new language, isn't it? So, you know what? I'm just going to keep going through Rust. And eventually, hopefully, I'll understand what I'm doing. But yeah, hang on, let me just turn this. There we are. Hopefully that's more centered now. If you have any advice on like how I can improve when coding in Rust, please leave a comment down below. If you have any advice on like what you think I should be doing to supplement my learning of Rust, please leave a comment down below. If you like the video, please leave a like on the video. If you dislike the video, please leave a dislike on the video and comment down below ways you want me to improve, or like things you want me to change to make your viewing experience better. Please subscribe and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.